Brian's Beat.
It isn't On Your Mind Monday. As you know, Thanksgiving is just 3 days away. And for many people, that bird is sitting in the refrigerator thawing, or maybe it's already thawed, and the excitement builds. I'm not all that excited for the day after Black Friday, but be that as it may. We've brought a few issues to the table. You don't have to discuss what I'm talking about, but you're more than welcome to. Make America Great Again. Donald Trump, that was a campaign pledge. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly when America lost its great. It happened after the mid-1970s, getting, I'm going to say around 78, 79, 80, 81, in that period. Things just started to change drastically. The Carter well, I don't know. Do we blame President Nixon, Tricky Dick, which led to that period of time right after he left office during the Ford administration when we got out of Vietnam? Not a great thing for the United States. Great that we left, but the whole conflict was just an asinine event of major proportions. Jimmy Carter, things didn't get too much better with him. Then we got into the Reagan years. 508-996-0500. When did the USA lose that greatness? If indeed we did. And if we haven't, what the heck is Mr. Trump talking about? Excuse me, President-elect Trump. What's he talking about? Hello.
Hey, good morning. How are you? And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, and thank you.
I'm just a caller that is calling to let you know that I'm not drinking any Trump Kool-Aid.
Okay.
And the first thing is, if you're draining a swamp, the first thing you got to do is offer yourself available to participation from your constituencies, like a national hotline for whistleblowers. And if the whistleblower has credibility or it's a serious issue, a lawyer will contact you back. That's how you change things.
Is that good enough?
It's a start in the right direction. And I think what we have to do is this federal government should have an office in every state for whistleblowers.
They have office. They have more than one office in the Commonwealth and in every state.
Whistleblowers.
A whistleblower. Well, you see, depending on what you're talking about blowing the whistle on, that should be handled on the state level.
Well, the state has never done anything to help a whistleblower. I can't name you one. I'm in my 60s. I can't name one case where the state stepped in and helped a whistleblower.
I think it would depend on the type of case, don't you?
Well, let's take immigration, for instance. In a corporation that's in the state of Massachusetts, it's hiring illegals. I'm not against hiring illegals. I'm against paying them suppressive wages. I think they should be paid accordingly.
Well, if you're hiring illegals today, you're giving them at least minimum wage. Because these illegal, it's easy nowadays for an illegal to have a black market Social Security number and to have papers.
Yeah, I'm not naive. I understand that. There's also an economy in the state of Massachusetts, so you can get more than just identification.
Why are you talking about suppressed wages then?
What we got to do is get organized. What we got to do is have places for people to go to who have legitimate problems with their life.
We don't? You're very vague. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is like sexism or sexual harassment on the job. Now, this has nothing to do with illegal immigration. I'm sure it happens with illegals as well as anybody else. But many times, like in the case of Bristol Community College, where they just recently settled a case against the school for sexism and sexual harassment for $2.3 million to a female campus police officer. The case has been going on since 2003. Now, if the state had an office to handle her situation, it wouldn't take 14 years, 13 years to finally get a settlement on that case.
Look, you're probably right. It might not have. But what are you saying? You went to the feds?
I'm not drinking anybody's Kool-Aid, especially my local representation. Now, they're going to tell you everything's fine when you ask them a question. When you call the office, they don't get back to you. You got to have an office where people get back to you. That's why I suggested on a federal level a national hotline for people who have legitimate complaints. And I think it would be effective. Now, would people abuse it? Of course it's going to happen. Let's be real about it. But the thing is you got to do things. You just can't throw rhetoric all around and say, well, I'm going to make America great again. America was great because there was a dialogue and a communication in the communities amongst neighbors that's missing today.
I agree with you on that. Thank you very much. Make America great again. Are we still great? When did we lose that greatness? And sometimes is Make America Great Again, is that a code? You know what I mean, a code. Code phrase. Hello.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Brian.
I agree with your last caller. It was very sobering to hear the exchange between you and him. And on the issue of Make America Great Again by Donald Trump, to me, it's coded to mean let's make the White House white again because of Michelle Obama and President Barack Obama and their family being there for the last 8 years. People will ignore that, but that's how I interpret it. And the other issue that you were talking about this morning in terms of the bathroom issue, I'm a baby boomer born in the South, and when I grew up, there was always for whites only bathrooms and water drinking fountains, and I experienced that completely through my high school years until I moved to Syracuse, New York. My family moved from Augusta, Georgia to Syracuse, New York. So these resurfacing issues are not new, but they are twisted to fit the framework of those folks who have lobbied for them. And I don't know whether they make sense or not. In my sense of the word, it doesn't make sense because we taxpayers are paying for all of this nonsense. What was wrong before with the bathroom arrangements that we've had for all these years?
I don't know. It seems to me if somebody of the opposite sex, whether they believe they're one way or the other, they want to go into the other bathroom, why do you have to change the sign? Or why do you have to have any sign on the door?
Brian, you in your early 60s, I'm in my late 60s. If it has worked all of these years for all of us, all across America and all 50 states, what's the rush and why these changes now because of new sexual orientation don't make sense to me?
Doesn't make any sense to me. And here's another thing. As many of you know, look, we just got through a very contentious election cycle. Next year, there are New Bedford and Fall River city elections. The year after that, we're going to sit down and maybe re-elect Governor Baker if he runs again, somebody else running for the position. But in 2018, there's also going to be that ballot question about stopping this transgender bathroom nonsense. So can you imagine if the voters wipe off the legislation that was passed this year by the Great and General Court and signed by Governor Baker? If we say no to it, are we going to all of a sudden gender neutral, it doesn't matter, we can go back to saying transgender? What's going to happen to those 62 bathrooms that are gender neutral? Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Excellent.
I just heard that last caller talk about the White House.
Yes.
Going from black to white, white to black. I just think that's not right at all.
Why?
People just don't think that way.
Don't think so?
No, I don't believe it. When he wants to make things better, he wants to make the government better, businesses better. That's how it goes better. Not black to white. It's wonderful that there was a black president. I didn't vote for him, but that was wonderful. It was fantastic. And the people spoke. That's all. Nothing to do with racism at all. Don't have to bring the race into that at all.
Well, there are quite a few people that think that is a code phrase.
People are crazy now. I've been around all kinds of people. I work in the restaurant business. I work with all kinds of people. And I think having all kinds of people in your workplace is wonderful. It just adds to it. Because they have history behind them and their families. It's all wonderful. From all over the country and the world. I just think it's wonderful. I don't I don't think the race issue is the way to go.
You know what? Just because you think everything is wonderful and rosy, it doesn't mean that others have the same feeling. I'm not talking about people that might believe that that is a code phrase. I'm talking about those that don't want it to be a code phrase, just ignorant to the whole topic.
I've been thinking about, what he's meant since I've heard, Trump speak. I never once thought of racism. I never once thought of that till just now. And just having that thrown out, that's not right. And somebody's got to tell people that's not right.
All right. Thank you.
Just don't think that way. All right.
I think there are many people that do think that way. I'm not saying they are correct in their thinking, but listen, I heard quite a bit of that over the weekend.
Brian's Beat.